High alert is stupid too. Like all these perks are dumb. Your vision pulses when an enemy outside your view sees you. Okay, like again in hardcore, like if that happens, you're dead already. Like by the time you react, you're dead. And you should never be letting high alert find enemies for you anyway. Like you should always know where enemies are or coming from. Um, so like the accolades you get, like those little medals you get for like performing certain actions in the game, like getting a long shot or something like that. One of my most earned accolades is sixth sense. And basically what that means is that throughout the entire match you didn't get killed in the back. That's like the description of the accolade. So if you never get killed in the back, you get that accolade. So that's one of my most earned accolades because you should never be getting shot in the back ever. Like it should never be happening, because that means you are completely ignorant of the where the enemies are spawning. Like you should always know which way the enemies are at least vaguely coming from. Like I'm not saying you should know where they are exactly at all times, but you should all like especially if you're playing with a team like I am, like you should be like, oh hey guys, the spawn flipped, like keep an eye out, or hey like oh I'm in the enemy's I'm where the enemy was spawning now. Okay, the spawn flipped. They're over on the. You should never be not knowing where the enemies are like that. Triggered by enemy controlling triggered by enemies controlling chopper gunners, Wilsons, and IVs and APC. Okay, like if you're getting aimed on by one of those things, you're probably gonna die in the next second anyway. So like if a chopper gunner is aiming at you, high alert's not gonna like save you or anything. That just means like, hey, you're gonna die. Oh wait, you're dead. Okay, it's a dumb perk. Just never use this. It's stupid. Even in regular modes, like if yeah, okay, you could theoretically live long enough to react to whatever, but like again, high alert is for people that suck because that means that nobody should be sneaking up on you. You don't need this. Don't worry about it. It's dumb. Ghost, stupid perk, just like cold blooded. Like ghost means that the enemies are getting UAVs and you're sucking. You're letting the enemies get UAVs. Undetectable by UAVs, radar, drones, and heartbeat sensors. Okay, UAVs, that's also personal radars. No, okay, so I was talking about how I thought personal radars picked up ghost users. I'm almost positive it does. I was playing games after I made that video, and I was getting pings off people, but I wasn't getting the dot, but I was getting the actual circle ping. Like, okay, the personal radar update on that video is god tier. It is is the advanced UAV. I'm literally never going to use it anymore. The personal radar is so good. It picks up ghost users. Now it doesn't say it does here, but that's because it doesn't give you the dot around the ping. So that's literally pointless. Like if you get a ping with the personal radar on the map, it's like, hey, there's a guy there. I don't need that little dot, like that extra dot in the radius. It's so stupid. I don't know why. Like that's the personal radar should not do that. That is broken. Anyway, so undetectable by UAVs. Now, again, I don't want to talk about guns and classes and stuff yet, but I run. If I'm running my AK, I have FMJ on there, and if I'm running another class, like for whatever reason, I have a Deagle, a Desert Eagle with FMJ on it. Okay, if you're running FMJ on a gun, which FMJ is a very good weapon perk, but in general, but you're going to shoot down UAVs like almost immediately. An FMJ Deagle literally takes 3 shots to hit a UAV, and it's extremely easy to do so. So like, if there's a UAV, just shoot it down. Now, personal radars, I was kind of talking about that in the other video. They're kind of annoying to shoot down if you don't have FMJ or something like that. But regardless, long story short, just if because it's going to happen, if the enemies get UAVs, just shoot them down. Okay, you don't need to just Ghost is dumb. That means you're sucking at the game. Radar drones, again, nobody runs those. I don't know why it calls them radar. I don't know if it's talking about the recon drone or if it's talking about the personal radar. That's like two words of two different things. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's talking about recon drones, but like, or wait, no, hold on, because cold blooded says it. Hold on. Cold-blooded says you're yeah, recon drones. You're still visible to the recon. Yeah, okay, so I think I th- I don't know what it's talking about there. Hold on, I'm sorry, I've never. realize this. I don't know what it means. Okay, I'm guessing that it's referring to the personal radar, but like I just explained, you're still detected by it. I'm positive that you are, but maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know. And heartbeat sensors. Nobody runs heartbeat sensors, and if they are, they're stupid and dumb and suck at the game, so you don't have to worry about it. Obviously, we're not talking about Warzone. Warzone is dead to me. Like, I don't even know what Warzone is. Warzone's a stupid mode, and we're never playing it. So, uh, still appear on killstreak radar when firing a weapon. What? I'm sorry. I'm actually like I haven't read these in a while. Still appear on killstreak radar when firing a weapon. Killstreak radar. I think what that means is if you pull out the iPad for like a VTOL, you'll what? Is it talking about the compass? I actually don't know what that means. Still appear on killstreak radar when firing a weapon. I don't know what that means. If it actually means that you still show up on the iPad when you're pulling out like a like the VTOL to like choose where you want it, like that's irrelevant. Why would you you wouldn't ever need to worry about that. Detectable by advanced UAV but removes direction. Again, like we were talking about in the last episode about the advanced UAV, that's irrelevant information anyway. And what this actually does, as I explained in that video, this actually makes you easier to detect on the advanced UAV because like I said, when you're on a regular UAV, you can see if somebody's up or down from you. But this basically just means like, hey, you have an advanced UAV. Well, I'm just going to be easier to detect now, like because now I show up with the up or down, and the advanced UAV like directional arrows don't give you that information. So that actually makes you an easier target. So just another reason why Ghost is completely garbage and you should never run it. There's literally like unless you're running some really weird and niche class that basically doesn't allow you to shoot down. Like if you're running a shotgun and then for whatever reason you're running a pistol without FMJ, like okay, maybe you need to run Ghost because you have no ability to shoot down the UAVs. But again, your teammates, hopefully, I mean, obviously, if you're playing with randoms, then you're not going to be able to rely on them to do that. But hopefully somebody else will shoot down the UAV, or you shouldn't be sucking to begin with to worry about that. But okay, whatever. Let's move on. Point man is dumb. There's no we talked about how score streaks are complete garbage in this game anyway, so like I could just leave it at that basically. Um, Kill streaks are earned through game score instead of number of kills. Specialists only earn perks instead of kill streaks. Um, so basically, what this does is that your kills. This is where score streaks come from, and we've already talked about why they're terrible. Um, the point value score streaks makes everything more expensive, so it's actually easier to earn streaks with kills than it is with points for any objective mode. Kill confirm, domination, hard point for any of them really. Um, I guess you might be able to argue hard point. I don't really play hard point, but I mean, if you're sitting there for seconds on end and I don't know how much, I think it gives you like maybe 10 score every second. I'm not sure, to be honest. And like, I guess maybe that would be a decent amount of score, but like, again, like the chances of you living on a hard point that long are very rare to begin with, so you shouldn't even worry about that. Counter UAVs and UAVs only give you 100 score max per use, so okay, that's stupid because basically what that does every time, so if you put out a UAV, every enemy that gets killed by your teammates gives you 10 score. So your friendlies have to kill 10 enemies to give you 1 kill worth of score. And again, that's actually not enough because like again with score streaks, a UAV costs 375. So that's not 1 kill worth of score. That's only like you would need 25 extra score to make that 1 kill equivalent of score. So I hope that made sense. Um, Advanced UAVs and white phosphorus only give 150. So again, you're only getting 1.5 kill worth of score for 10 score per kill from your friendly. It's Point Man is complete garbage because score streaks are complete garbage. Never, ever, ever run this perk. I would say it's almost literally as completely useless as Quick Fix, but Quick Fix literally just doesn't work, and Point Man is just so garbage you shouldn't even ever consider it. So yeah, we'll just move on. All right, Tune Up. I Tune Up is kind of like Double Time, to where it's a convenience perk, kind of. So like reduce the charge time of field upgrades by 40%. So this basically, first thing that pops into my head is like, oh wow, I can use Dead Silence more often. Well, you need to treat field upgrades like kill streaks. You don't need them to win. Kind of, they're a bit more tactical. I like if you're playing something like Domination, like having trophy systems more. It's not the same, but it is. For some of these, field upgrades, but like you shouldn't be relying on like having Dead Silence more often. Again, it's more convenient because like Dead Silence really just makes it to where you don't have to try as hard, at least for me, because it's like I can just run around and just destroy people now. So you really don't want to worry about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could run the like if I run this on my specialist, like almost always. So like, yeah, it is very nice to have, but you don't want to run it as your primary perk. So it's good, but it's not. Amped is almost essential. Honestly, perk 3 has almost all of these perks are like you can switch between them because they all have pretty decent uses. Amped, I think, and Shrapnel are the best though. Amped, faster weapon swap, and launcher reload speed. Now that goes to what I was saying before. Like, what can a perk do something that you otherwise couldn't? Well, you can literally reload your rockets faster now. So there's that. So that literally lets you do something you couldn't already do. Um, you're probably thinking like, oh, well, you said being faster with double time isn't important. Well, double time lets you be faster longer. Amp lets you be faster forever. And what I mean with double time, it's like, okay, well, you can sprint for longer. It doesn't let you sprint faster. If it let you sprint faster, that would be a whole different story. But being able to reload your rocket launchers faster always, forever, now you're thinking like, oh, well, that's only 2 shots with a rocket launcher. Yeah, but being able to switch to your rocket launcher quickly, almost immediately, and then fire 2 consecutive shots off, that can kill some EOD users almost. Like if somebody's running EOD and stims, maybe their reaction time is just too slow, and you get those 2 rocket launcher shots off to kill them before they can react to stim. Now, if you're playing somebody good, that's not going to happen. But being able to shoot 2 rockets almost right at one after the other, it's so invaluable. Just being or switching to, it like this has 2 uses because again, if like going back to scavenger, if in overkill, if you're picking up enemies' weapons, you don't want to be sitting there trying to like, you know, if for whatever reason you're switching to that weapon that you picked up, you can do that instantly now. So like, so this enhances your gameplay even more. So like, let's say for I reload almost always. It's actually a bad habit sometimes. I'll reload after like 2 shots. I need to get over it, but like so if for whatever reason you like shoot a bunch of enemies and you run out of ammo and you need to reload, well you now have the option to swap out to that weapon that you picked up and use that one. So like this literally enhances you so much. Amped is so good. Let's read the bonuses. Does not affect swapping to pistols and knives. Okay, like who cares? Like re- switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading. So like yeah, you don't even need to worry about that. And now swapping. So if you have your assault rifle out and you switch to your pistol, that won't make it faster. But switching from your pistol to your assault rifle, that'll make it faster. Just to let you know. And knives, like who's running knives? Nobody runs those. Um, and most equipment is used faster. Like boom, there you go. You can throw thermites faster. You can throw frags faster. Semtexes, Molotovs, claymores. This perk is just so good. It literally helps everything. It makes you permanently faster everywhere. It's so useful. Um, so shrapnel is good. I don't run this. So depend. This is. I'll actually okay. I actually kind of go back on what I said about like this being one of the better perks. It is one of the better perks, but only for only for niche scenarios, honestly. I used to main this perk depending on if I was running a rocket launcher or not, which I almost always am. Uh, but like I'll run this on. I have a shotgun class. I run this always on that class because being able to control the map with a shotgun is extremely effective. But like if I'm running my AK-47, I don't run this perk. Um, so spawn with an extra piece of lethal equipment. Explosive damage delays enemy health regeneration. We don't need to worry about that last part at all on hardcore because you don't regenerate. So I mean that's kind of an irrelevant bonus anyway, even on regular modes, because if you hit somebody with a claymore, and you're playing like for instance, if you're playing in the way that I do, where I'm not right next to my claymores. Now, if you're a camper, then I guess that would help you. But if you're playing like I do, where you're just trying to lock down certain parts of the map, you're not really going to be able to find that person within 3 seconds. You know what I mean? Like to kill them while they're health low, and you shouldn't need that anyway. You should just be able to kill enemies if they're full health, regardless. So that's irrelevant. But just having two, it kind of seems like it's not useful. But again, you have to consider if you're running restock, that means you're like, yeah, you're only. It's hard to explain. So like, if you're fighting a bunch of like I'll switch to this perk if I'm playing a bunch of people that are running EOD. I didn't explain this earlier because I was waiting for this. So I said that EOD protects you from any explosion, right? That doesn't protect you from two explosions at the same time. So if somebody, lots of people I play do this, and I do it depending on who I'm playing against. Some people will put down two proximity mines right next to each other, or two claymores right next to each other, pointed the same way, because this will kill an EOD player always, because it's two explosions going off at the same time. So they literally cannot live that. That's the one thing you have to worry about with EOD. Uh, so yeah, if I'm playing a whole lobby of people running EOD, I might run this to be able to like, okay, like, and again, you're thinking, oh, well, you said not to rely on perks and stuff. Well, it's not so much relying, it's just, again, it's controlling the map. It's like, okay, let's just say I have 6 guys running EOD. It's like, okay, well, I need to be able to control the map to where it's working in my favor. So I need to be able to make sure I can always at any time kill one guy coming through this doorway. So I'm going to put 2 claymores down here. Now I just have to worry about these 2 spots, or whatever. So if you're running, and then so like let's say you have those claymores put down, right, and two at the same spot, right? You've used both of your lethals. It's like, okay, well, maybe they don't go off for a while, and you're living a long time because you have EOD and stims. Well, you're restocking that whole time, right? So within a minute, now a minute's a long time in Call of Duty, right? And this doesn't happen often, but boom, you've got 2 more claymores within a minute to kill a whole nother person, if they have EOD ready to go. So if those 2 claymores go off, it's like boom, I can lock down another alleyway or whatever. So it's it's more situational, and I will admit it's more convenience because you don't need to kill those players, right? But having the option, it's more utilitarian, if that's the right word, to have the option of being able to close down 2 lanes immediately when you spawn, because maybe that'll allow you to live longer. Now, again, I would say this is more relying. That's why I don't run it all the time. The only reason I run it on that shotgun class that I was talking about is because I run a shotgun and then an FMJ Deagle to shoot down UAVs. So I really have no use for amped, right? Because I don't need to switch to my secondary. I don't have a launcher. Putting down my claymores is kind of irrelevant. So it's just like, oh yeah, okay, I'll run shrapnel because that allows me to play more efficiently. So that's kind of the mindset behind that. Uh, I think that's a good enough explanation. So next is battle hardened. Battle hardened is weird. So for the most part, it's garbage because. So I said before, you should always know where the enemies are coming from, right? So theoretically, you'll never be getting stunned or flashed or gassed, if because like those, if an enemy is throwing a stun grenade, that means they have to be within the area that it's being thrown, if that makes sense. So like if you have a relative idea of where the enemies are coming from, they're never going to be able to throw a stun grenade in a place that you are that you're not expecting them to be, if that makes sense. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're going to get flashed and stunned sometimes, but like if you're flashed, like you don't need to worry about that really. Now, I kind of wish the flashes worked how they did in Call of Duty 4. I don't know why they like it was so cool in Call of Duty 4. Let's say a flash grenade landed right next to you, you could literally turn the camera away from the flashbang, and it would affect you less. It would only last like a second, but if you stared directly at it, I mean, you'd be flashed for like 7 seconds, and you were probably dead. But like in this game, it kind of does that, but not really, at least from what I can tell. Um, but like, if you're getting flashed or stunned, people that run flashbangs or stun grenades typically suck at the game. So they like need you to be flashed and stunned to get a kill, maybe. But like, if you're flashed, like people say I'm hacking sometimes because like if you're as good at the game as me and you know the maps inside and out, just because you're flashed, like you should be able to. Like, I mean this quite literally. You should be able to play the maps. Like you should be able to move around the maps with your eyes closed. Like obviously like not completely, but like if you get flashed, you should like what I'll do is if I get flashed is that I won't move my camera because that'll disorient me. What I'll do is be like, okay, I'm here and I'm looking this direction, so I just need to move my I just need to move my character this way and boom, I'm in a safe like I can literally get myself into a safe position while I'm flashed. So like actually, you need to get that good. And then being stunned, well, yeah, it's definitely inconvenient and might get you killed, possibly. But like you can still shoot and whatnot while you're flashed and stunned. So like you can still aim, you can still move kind of. So it's just such a niche thing. Like you don't need to worry about getting stunned and flashed once you get so like it doesn't happen very often to me. And when it does, I can just react or play better than the person throwing them and kill them anyway. So like it's nothing you really need to worry about. The EMP effect, that's literally just the EMP drone, and like nobody runs that, so you don't, that's irrelevant. You don't need to worry about that. The gas effects, oops. The gas effects, again, this goes back to like you shouldn't be getting gassed because like people that run gas are bad. Like it's, I mean, they're like okay now. If we're I need to think about other game modes. Like if we're talking about like domination, like yeah, I mean gas grenades are super effective. If you're trying to disorient people taking a flag, or if you're playing hardpoint and you're trying to like disorient people. I mean, yeah, no, this like battle harden's a pretty good. I would say it's a pretty good perk in like domination or like hardpoint or something. But like in hardcore kill confirmed, nah, not really. Um, like yeah, when you get gas, like your character puts down the weapon and you can't aim, but you should be able to kill people hip firing anyway. I mean, like yeah, maybe you're running a gun that's bad at hip firing, but we'll get into that when I talk about weapon setups and stuff. You should never be running a weapon that's bad at hip firing, but we'll talk about that later. The big one here is being immune to snapshot grenades. Now, this is good and it's not. So this is a niche thing. I'm gonna leave Battle Hardened down to niche. Um, we've played clans where all of them are running snapshot grenades, and it's like literally such a inconvenient and a problem that I actually switched to Battle Hardened. But it's very rare. Like here's the thing. Like yeah, not being marked completely by a snapshot grenade, like not having the red outline, that is good, but they're still getting a battle hardened hit marker. So they still know an enemy's in the building they threw it in, or around the corner, or whatever. So it's good, but it's not, and you really just, I don't know. I mean, let's just leave it to niche. Like, really, you don't want to be running this perk because you shouldn't be getting affected by all of these things in the first place. And the other thing is literally just a niche thing that, like, if you're getting snapshotted, again, people that throw snapshot grenades typically suck because they need that grenade to be able to find people. Like, so in that regard, yeah, I would say you don't need this perk. It's useful. Like okay, again it okay, so we're going back to like if I'm using that shotgun class I was talking about where I don't need amped, maybe, and you could say like I don't need shrapnel, I just kind of threw it on there because I wanted to. Maybe you could throw battle hardened on there, but again, like you don't need this perk for the most part. That's really what I'm getting at. Like instead of running shrapnel, I'd probably run tune up, which I do. Like maybe sometimes I'll run tune up. So really, battle hardened is just niche. Engineer. So fun fact: this perk used to be called Spotter until Black Ops Cold War came out. I don't know why they changed the name of it. It was with something with Warzone. Anyway, detect enemy equipment, field upgrades, and kill streaks through walls. Mark them for your team by aiming down sights. Hack enemy equipment and field upgrades. Okay, so let's go through those one at a time. Detect enemy equipment. Now, you should be able to know where enemy equipment is without this perk. Now, I mean that literally and I don't. So, if you're playing people that are just like casually putting down claymores every once in a while, or a proximity mine, or a trophy system, this is worthless because you don't need to worry about that. Like you have EOD, so if you do get caught off guard by a claymore, you can just stim and heal up and you're fine. So that already makes that first part kind of worthless. Um, Detecting field upgrades like munitions boxes and trophy systems, again, kind of useful. Like if you're playing like domination, it's nice to be able to, like, you're not going to be able to see everything in the chaos of a game. So like knowing there's a trophy system there and being able to maybe shoot it if it's like that's the problem, is that if just because you can see these things doesn't mean you can do anything about them. So like if you see a trophy system and but you can't shoot through the wall that it's behind or get the right angle on it. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't. Wow, I see it. Wow, good, yay. Like who cares? Um, and marking them through the wall for your teammates. You can just say, "Hey, guy." Like I literally just. It's faster just to be like, "Hey, guys, there's a claymore here. Don't go here." I mean, if your teammates listen to you or not, that's up to them. But and seeing kill streaks through walls, like, do you really need that? Like, do you like? Yeah, okay, it's kind of convenient to be able to see UAVs. UAVs aren't really like in some Call of Duties. UAVs are actually kind of obscured by like clouds and stuff. They're pretty easy to find in this game, so you don't really need that. And like if you need this to like see a chopper gunner, like gee, the giant thing in the sky shooting at me, like I really need a freaking kill streak or a perk to see that. So just don't worry about it. That part's irrelevant. Uh, Mark them for your team. Like I already said that. Hack enemy equipment and field crews. Now, you might think that's the good part of this perk. It's really not. Um, so it's just kind of convenient, really, because like, so I don't know. Maybe you don't know this. So like, well, you probably don't. So if we're running, well, okay. So like, if we have claymores in restock just without shrapnel, and we have one claymore, you can only well, basically at all times you can only have two pieces of equipment on the field. That means you can only ever have two claymores, two proximity mines. So basically, or two C4s. Nobody runs those though. Um, so a kind of nice thing with engineer is that a hacked piece of equipment doesn't count. So theoretically, you could have like infinite claymores on the ground because if you hacked everybody's claymores and had your own two, but like who cares? Hacking, like if you're hacking the equipment, it's you don't want to be like, oh, now I get a free claymore. Like no, that's like yeah, it's nice, but you don't want to be like hoping on that. You know what I mean? Again, the whole hacking engineer comes down to the enemy. Is the enemy getting kill streaks? No, they're not because we're dominating them. At least that's what you should be doing, right? Is the enemy uh, putting down claymores and stuff? Okay, yeah, maybe, but like you don't want. So what happens if you're playing a bunch of games and the enemies aren't running claymores or trophy systems or proximity mines? This is a niche perk, right? And it really is. It's a niche perk because if you're going back to the benefits, like if you're hacking the claymore so where it's not to where it's not dangerous to you anymore, it would be faster. Honestly, it would be faster and safer just to shoot it maybe through the wall if you have FMJ or going around to where it is and shooting it at a safe distance. It's really faster to do that because you don't have to go through the animation of him pulling out the iPad and you're really vulnerable when he does that. Like really it should just be instant. I think Black Ops 2 made it like that where you literally just have to get in the range of it and just press square and it was immediately hacked. That's really how it should be if you ask me. That would make that actually pretty effective. Um But again, like there's a lot of the time if I know a Claymore's around a corner and there's somebody upstairs or something, I'll just take the hit, stim up, and then kill the guy. You know what I mean? Like taking the time to do all that, it just leaves you so vulnerable. However, here's where the niche kind of comes in. And the little bonus there, advanced UAVs cannot be marked, obviously, because they're advanced UAVs. That's like one of the only good things about advanced UAVs is they can't be shot down. I should have mentioned that with the killstreak episode. Um, there are certain players that clans. Now this is somewhat effective if you're playing an entire clan of people running double proximity mines or double betties. Okay, that's literally if you're playing a couple people that happen to be doing that, putting down double explosives, you should just be able to get in that. Like you should be like, oh hey, there's people doing this. I should be more cautious, right? But there are literal entire clans that we play where this is all they do. They camp with double proximity mines and claymores. I basically need engineer at that point, right? Because I need to know where they are first of all and be able to hack them to because they're camping right next to them typically. So I need to be able to hack all of that stuff and get them to kill themselves or me be able to get in the building. So engineer is a niche thing. You should only be running if that is a problem for you. Don't ever always run this perk. Switch to it if you need to. I think that's a good explanation of everything. Tracker is worthless. Don't ever run this. This is a dumb perk. Uh, Enemies leave behind a footprint trail. See markers at enemy death locations and hide the death markers of enemies you kill. Um, so enemies leaving behind a footprint trail, like this goes back to having a headset. You should never be like if you can see the footprint trail of somebody, you should also be able to hear them, like literally, unless they're running dead silence. But the chances of you sneaking up behind somebody that has dead silence activated and seeing their footprint trail and following it to kill them, very unlikely. Like you don't need to rely on the game giving you information like that. You should just be able to hear that player and kill them. You should never need the game to be like, hey, there's a guy here, follow the trail. That's so dumb. See markers at enemy death locations. Who cares? Like again, this you should know generally where the enemies are in the first place. Maybe that would be a means for you to get that information, but like you should. And again, I'm talking about game metas here. Basically, wherever your friendlies are, the enemies are the exact opposite side of the map from you. That's really all you need to know. So that part is just completely worthless. Not to mention we're playing kill confirmed here. So when an enemy dies, they literally drop a tag. So you don't even need that. Um, and hide the death markers of enemies you kill. Again, we're playing kill confirmed. They're dropping a tag, so you don't need to worry about it. Tracker's just dumb. Just don't ever worry about it. All right, yeah. So that's basically it. So recap real quickly. EOD is literally the only perk you should ever primarily run, and double time is the only one you should maybe put in your specialist. Uh, yep, that's all perk one. Perk two, restock is the only perk you should ever use. Literally all these other perks are complete worthless. So yeah, never run them. Restock is the only one you should ever use. Amped, all of them are pretty good except for Tracker. Tracker's completely worthless. Engineer is niche. Battle Hardened is niche. Shrapnel, Amped, and Shrapnel and Amped are the best ones, and Tune Up is convenience, kind of like Double Time. So yeah. Alrighty. I don't know what we're gonna cover on episode 4 yet. I'll decide when I start recording it. But yeah, I'll see you in the next episode.